world where nuclear war has begun. Vampires fought back in super real 3D.
What's up, guys? Got a new camera? You want to get out there and start filming? You want to get good at making good images? That's kind of the first thing that you want to do, right? What type of video is going to get you there the fastest? If you're just getting into cameras, there's all kinds of different videos that you can make, but I feel that there's a particular type that's going to get your chops up the fastest when it comes to learning how to make great looking images out of your camera, learning where its limitations are, and also learning where it excels at. And what you're going to have to do is film all kinds of different stuff. You're going to end up with this myriad of crazy random footage. Find a song that absolutely gives you goosebumps, gets you inspired. Don't even worry about copyright because you're just making this potentially for yourself. You can use it as a portfolio piece under the radar. You can send it to any client. In most cases, you can upload stuff that has copywritten music to it on most of these platforms and get away with it. You can't monetize it, but you're not monetizing yet anyway. You're just getting into this. And I'm telling you, I started getting gigs. If you're looking to make money, you can still use this as a gig getter when you're first getting started, as long as it's powerful enough. Put together basically what's a music video. So you found an amazing song and you're tying together all this random footage that you filmed in all these different environments and putting it into an edit. Now, before you go and you think, oh, that's all I have to say, let me point out a couple of things about what you should do with this to actually get the growth that I'm talking about. So when you're doing these edits, you want to take advantage of what it's offering you. What it's offering you is no pressure. There's not a client on you. You can do whatever you want. You don't have to make the shots cohesive. So when it comes to color grading and editing, which is a part of getting better at filming, because you need to go through your footage, you need to see what's working, you need to see what the camera likes, you need to see what angles you ended up liking, you need to see how shaky your footage is, you need to push colors, you need to explore everything in an extreme way. That's what I'm recommending to do with basically a music video, just beautiful montage of images to a song that gives you goosebumps. You're going to feel inspired while you're working on it. You're going to feed off of that music as like a guiding light of when to change what. It's a lot more obvious than just working with narrative-driven content where you're working off of a story and understanding how to create a pace out of thin air with people talking. This is a much more advanced thing to do. What I'm talking about is just an opportunity to get great at figuring out how to make awesome images with your camera, but you want to figure out where your ceiling is on how far you can push yourself with color grades, what the camera can handle, and how good you can get at color grading. Okay, because color grading is a huge part of getting quality images. Most of the cameras that people are getting now for video work offer log. Now, if you are filming in log, you're already in color grading land to an extent because you're going to have to get it out of that log profile. If you're not filming in log, you can still color grade a lot. Like my first 8 or 9 years, I didn't even have log, but I color graded everything. And you can go really far with that still. You can absolutely manipulate looks. Don't think because you didn't film in log that you can't create your own look or use a LUT. You can still use a LUT. You just have to use it at a much lower intensity level. And you might have to do a little bit of work on the footage before to desaturate some more, or in camera, choose to desaturate, make it flatter, so that way you have more flexibility. But let's say that you just filmed with a natural picture profile and it was robust and saturated, and it already looked like a baked-in look. What you can do before you put the LUT in is to just dial saturation back physically in post. Dial back the contrast a little bit and then put on the LUT at a lower intensity level, maybe like 20% or 30%. You'll be amazed at how much of a look that starts to create. You don't have to be limited to one LUT, especially when you use it at lower intensity levels like that. You can start combining combinations of LUTs. You can use Resolve, you can, for me, I'm in Premiere, and I also like Red Giant Magic Bullet looks. You do not need that. When I first started in Premiere, it didn't even have Lumetri. I've been doing this for 20 years. So it didn't even really have quality color grading inside of it. So that's where I built up my connection with Red Giant Suite, which is a plugin suite that you can choose to look at if you want to. I have a video showing that and talking about that, but that's another side note. But you get into the color grading and you get to do these extreme looks, and you don't have to make it cohesive, because when you make a story with narrative and people are talking back and forth, or even if it's an interview setup, and you're having to keep things more consistent and in like a certain place, like you need everything to kind of match up more. You're connecting more shots and they need to look like they were filmed at the same time with what I'm talking about. You can just have a field day. Don't even worry about it. Just use it as an opportunity to explore extreme looks, so you can figure out how far you can push the camera and what you can get out of these tools that you're using in pushing color grades. And then the maturity level of reining it back naturally happens. And a lot of times it'll happen simply based on the expectation from the video that you're making. Because once you get further into your video making world, whether this is for money or not, you're inevitably going to be collaborating with other people, and it might be for a purpose. And in that purpose, it's going to kind of dictate how natural it needs to feel. So you'll be able to dial it back, but if you don't know how far you can push it, I feel like there's a gap in you knowing the choices that you're making, because you don't even know what your limit is. You're like handicapping yourself. So figure out how far you can push stuff, have a blast with it, and you don't have to worry about audio. That's huge, because you can have these amazing visuals and then have weak audio, and then the video just feels kind of low quality. With what I'm talking about, they can be really professional because you're just skipping the audio thing completely. So if you were trying to get a gig or something like that, I literally got my first gigs with just visual only pieces, even though I wanted to get narrative work where we actually were doing like mini doc style stuff like with Trans Am. I didn't have a piece like that to show them. I just showed them a bunch of visuals that I put together with music. So this can get you a gig too, even if it doesn't have narration in it or talking.
This is the gold I started with. I cut that back to 3 grams of black. So you see it's really yellow and that's really gray, and this is halfway between here and here. So let me clear coat it. There's our stripes, that and that. And that matches the wheels really, really nice.
Showtime. That was one reason.
Okay.
And the other one just kind of fell into my lap, and that was my mom's car. Her Chevelle was green.
It's quite the tribute. That takes a while. That audio is a beast. It's the hardest thing to do as a solo shooter if that's your situation. So just skip that. Make these pieces that people are going to be blown away with, because you will find that if you're actually inspired by the music, when you're putting these visuals down that you've accumulated, and you can just have this experience. It's almost like, as a musician, it's the closest type of edit to jamming that I would say there is, because you're just going off of feeling. You're having the playground of not having to match shots from one thing to the next, and you can just do whatever color grade you want. You're going to learn so much, and then you'll probably discover some looks that you really like, and then later in another video you can start building up that as like a type of look that you know that you're capable of doing, and then use it across an entire project. But you never would have discovered it had you not pushed the envelope on yourself and gotten into these extreme places. Because I'm telling you, sometimes you should just try stuff that doesn't even make sense. It seems like it's going to be an exaggerated, ridiculous bunch of crap that you're throwing at it.
You do whatever, just don't break. It's never seen the light before. You just get one, I don't have more. If love is grief, nowhere to go, then wretched torment stops the flow. These errant thoughts might be my own. Collapse to fetal, then to prone. I see them cresting, rolling hills. They'll never stop, they'll never fill.
And then sometimes like, wait, there's actually something there. And then you start peeling it back a little bit, and then you have this really cool extreme look. I mean, there's just so much that you'll discover. It's such a fun place to start with your camera. So that's what I really, really recommend, is start there if you want to get better with your camera the fastest, freely exploring the camera and what it's capable of. Anyway, I hope that you go do that. And I have no doubt that if you make those types of videos when you're first getting started, each one that you make, you're going to grow, and you're not going to regret having made it. These are portfolio. I still have portfolio pieces that I still stand by, that I made in some of my first few years of really getting into this, that I still love. And I still watch those, and I'm like, man, yeah, like I remember figuring out so much when making those. So, all right, take care, guys. I hope to catch you on another one. Peace.
Valley is rising.